Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. Thank you once again for joining us for our Disco Inferno coverage where we watch Discovery Season 2 and talk about each episode. This is Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity. Joining me tonight are my co-hosts, the man who's here because we definitely have his mom in prison down in the basement, Jesse Bailey.
She's gonna figure a way out of there eventually, but right now she's trying to lull us all into a false sense of security.
And the man who feels like he knows chess so much better because he just watched pieces get moved into place for something later for 48 minutes, Cameron Harrison.
Feels like we've been watching this season for Perpetual Infinity, guys.
It's been a long time. Tonight we are here to watch whatever comes between point A and point B in Star Trek Discovery. It's not a bad episode, but no. Let's go ahead and talk about the things that happen in Perpetual Infinity.
Well, I'll start off by saying I am a sucker for like a good flashback in the episode directly following a big cliffhanger reveal. So, you know, coming in and seeing this flashback of Little Burnham and her parents and her mom, who we just met at the end of the last episode, I thought that was great. I wish, and I feel like they would have done this nowadays, is if this entire episode had just been a flashback of what Michael's mom had been up to. Because her story is really fascinating, and they do a lot of hand wavy for like what she knows and what she's been doing. And I'm like, no, show us that. That would be great. I'm going to get more into it later, but for now, I'm just leaving it as that. I wish this episode had been Mama Burnham flying around time.
You're absolutely right, Cameron.
Yeah.
I just finished watching the new Devil May Cry anime on Netflix, and like the third to last episode, there's like a big confrontation with the main bad guy. And then the second to last episode, 100% flashback all the way through to tell you how the bad guy got there, like what his motivations are.
Because it's the 2020s. That's how TV works these days. I mean, most series do that. And it's like, that actually would have really fit in this season of Discovery. That would have made sense.
It kind of felt like they didn't, for some reason, they were like, we can't just do a whole flashback. But I think I agree that it probably would have worked.
It would have worked better than the random Klingon episode we got at the beginning of the season.
Well, that's going to eventually matter, but you're right. Like, as far as when it comes up, you're kind of like, did we need that episode? Like, the Klingons do make another appearance, but it's not really based on what we saw in the episode about them. So, like, I think I'm right there with you, but they also could have just done like 2 slightly longer episodes, put the first half of this on the end of the last one, and the second half on the beginning of the next one, and it would have been okay. But like, I don't know, there's still plenty to like in this episode, and like my number one piece of evidence for that is that Leland gets his ass kicked, and so does Ash Tyler.
Are you so glad that Ash is alive at the end of the episode, though, Jesse? You're
glad
thank God. When they said we have a life form and it's Ash Tyler, I could just see Jesse breathing a sigh of relief.
This is proof that all AI is bad, okay? Like, yes, it's bad at writing your term papers. It's bad at coming up with summaries for things. It can't draw hands, although I hear it's getting better at that. I wouldn't know. I don't use it. But you had a clean shot at Ash Tyler and you don't kill him?
Mm-mm. He lives
Even
to die
though-
another day. Yeah.
But he's like the biggest risk to your... He literally walked in on your like evil mission briefing and you don't kill him? You just injure him grievously? Like, what is... This is the dumbest AI. It deserves to be...
Well, that's the
beaten
point.
by
It knows
Starfleet.
it's a dumb AI. I mean, it is the pack-led of AIs because
Well,
it's like,
it
you know,
is.
we need the sphere data to be strong, and it is an inept AI. Absolutely.
But it knows enough about humanoid anatomy to take over an entire body, but not enough to kill one with a like sharp weapon. Are you kidding me? Like, he should be dead.
I thought he was dead. So it was a good fake out for me. Yeah, this AI, like, it doesn't even know that it's reached sentience or what is it? Consciousness. He says, and I know he's lying, but I fear it will attain consciousness.
Mhm.
Aren't they all under the impression that Control has reached consciousness? Isn't that what we established like 2 episodes ago? I'm confused.
Well-
What's going to happen when it gets the sphere data? Every episode it says something different.
I mean, consciousness and sentience are two different things.
Could you
maybe
please explain the
sapience-
difference to me, Jesse?
Okay, so a dog is conscious, right?
Sure.
A fish is conscious, but like sentience, I think sapience might be the word we're looking for. I can double check on this.
Mm.
But those are closer to like you can comprehend things like before they happen, like you can use deductive reasoning, you can do things to help yourself later.
But they
that kind
use
of
the
a
word
thing,
consciousness.
knowledge, experience.
That it's going to
Yeah,
reach
and I think it's-
consciousness.
I think it's sloppy because it already knows that it's a thing.
Yeah, it's
So, like, I
self-aware.
think you're
It's
correct.
doing its own thing. It's gone rogue.
Right.
I thought they
But
just
it's-
didn't want to get smarter or know more about.
Well, and I think that it's probably A, hand wavy, and B, like kind of the writers saying like, do we need to say sentience 100 times or sapience 100 times? Can
Mhm.
we just shortcut that with consciousness?
Hmm.
And I agree that it's probably not the correct use of that word, but like it is like the capabilities of this AI are so completely out of whack with what it should be able to do.
Mhm.
Like it can use nanites to control a humanoid body, but can't fill in the blank, right? Like
Yeah.
how is this happening? Like I don't know. We'll get into it, but I was glad to see Leland get messed up, and I was glad to see Ash Tyler get messed up. That's like most of my whole point.
Okay, I want to check in, guys, with us. Where do we stand with Leland? Where are we at? Well, where did we leave off with him? Justice for Leland?
This is no. That's where you left off with him and the Ba'ul.
He's kind of a bad
This-
because I forgot he got completely taken over. Like he's the bad guy from here on out. But what?
Yeah.
What are we mad at him for at this point?
Because when you sacrifice your ideals to achieve a goal, this is what you get. You get taken over by a future sentient AI.
I mean,
that
he's
wants to
kind of a
destroy
badass
everything.
there in that little torture table. I mean, he's trying to resist control. He's doing a good job until like he gets a bunch of needles in the back of his neck.
Yeah. Until he gets literally Borg
Yeah.
like droned. I mean,
Okay. And he says, and the AI tells him struggle is pointless.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is exactly resistance is futile. So I have to ask,
Mhm.
was there some version of this season's scripting process where they're like, let's do a Borg origin? Or is it 100% meant to be a red flag or a red herring?
Mhm.
Because like, it's so exact.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I was like,
which thing is it?
they definitely improved their branding if it is Proto Borg, but I don't know. I was wondering if at
Yeah.
the time people were like, oh, 100% this is going to be a Borg origin story.
That's exactly how I felt. There was a giant sphere full of stuff.
Yeah.
There were nanites, there were robots, they were threatening life. I was like, this has to be a Borg. And then at the end they go, well, what if instead of destroying all sentient life, we integrate ourselves into all sentient life on a longer time scale so that our domination is still complete, but is like people are less likely to time travel to stop us about it. Like
Although
that
they
actually
will.
works fine.
They will time travel to
But-
stop us.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
well, it's the other way around, but yes.
Well, but-
the Borg time traveled first.
They-
but yes.
first, but so we had to just stop them. They also,
Yeah.
following that line, that he also says something about evolving and evolution that was very similar to
Yeah.
assimilating, and I was like, they know what they're doing. But to your point, I'm not sure which goal they had in mind.
Yeah, like to me, it comes across as sloppy because they know that connotation is going to get made by people who've seen previous Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see the argument for this is us tricking the people who have seen previous Star Trek.
Yeah.
But in that case, it's like, well, you already bit like 7 rhymes, 7 of rhymes before you got to where you're going. So like, did you really trick us or did you kind of lie to us? I don't know what the right word is.
Honestly, I think they were just kind of like, oh, this will be cute. It's kind of an Easter egg, forgetting who their audience is.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it's hard. I'd almost like to ask a writer just like, hey, did this get changed? Like, can you tell me if it got changed? Was it going to be Borg? And then you were like, that relies too much on previous knowledge. But it's not that big of a deal because I get to see Ash Tyler get stabbed. So.
All right,
Now,
I'm going to go
Cameron,
ahead
I
and get it out of the way. I'll say it for the whole episode. Sonequa Martin Green can motherfucking act.
Oh,
yeah.
Her heart out.
Shit.
Yeah.
Do you think Sonequa Martin Green knew what she was getting into when she signed on to play the role of Michael? Did she know like how much emotional trauma she was going to have to open up in herself to play this role?
I don't think so because TV now isn't written how it was.
Right.
Yeah. Where it's like, here's, they don't have like a series Bible. Like we've heard, there's no series Bible for Strange New Worlds. So like you don't get that rundown as an actor, I'm assuming, at the start of your process where they're like, okay, look, you're going to start out this way. Over time, your character will evolve like this. They'll become this kind of a person. But I mean, it is really interesting because like a lot of her character development takes place in this season. This is where she becomes the Michael that we know. Like when you think of the words Michael Burnham, you're thinking of stuff that gets built in this season because most of season 1 is like, you gotta fight,
Yeah.
This is where we get like a lot of reasoning behind why she is the way that she is, why she feels so confident when she thinks she's correct. Like it's not arrogance, it's like a demonstrated pattern of behavior for her that like if she analyzes enough of the data, she will arrive at the correct conclusion. But I don't know, man. I am kind of surprised that she has not been in 1,000 very popular things. Like she was in the Space Jam sequel. Like what? That is such a waste of Sonequa Martin Green. And like, I mean, I assume because I haven't seen it, she probably knocks it out of the park in that movie. But like, give her a movie where she gets to do the heavy lifting. It sounds like My Dead Friend Zoe is that movie.
Yeah,
like,
I just saw the first little teaser for it popped across my feed recently.
Yeah, a lot of positive thoughts that I'm hearing around that. Shout out to Tom Tran, former guest, who is also in the movie for what he describes as like 8 seconds.
But yeah, that opening scene with her is, I mean, a powerhouse performance from her, John Bold. You are absolutely, it's incredible. And it's really well written. I really like that opening scene. I think it's done really well. Like everyone says what you would kind of expect them to say in that situation. It's not one of those where like, oh, we have to be clever with the plot or like we want this dramatic reveal later. No, she wakes up. This is how they would reveal the information to her. That is how she would react.
Yeah.
Question. Is it good that they had Culber mention, hey, I know I've only been back on duty for 5 minutes, but here's my analysis? Or is that kind of cheating?
I was fine with it.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to see Culber. Yeah. Okay. And I ask because, like, again, I've never tried to like sit down and write a story for a screen, so I don't know if that would be considered like, what's the word for it? Like a trick,
like exposition dump, or
they fit it in organically enough. I think.
Yeah. So, Cameron, I know that usually you're the one with the controversial opinions about, the Ba'ul did nothing wrong, or like
Leland is a stand-up guy. Look, I know he was going to mind wipe Spock. That wasn't great. Other than that, I don't know if he's done anything terrible.
Or Britney Spears owes Justin Long sex. But I think it's my turn to maybe have a controversial opinion here. And I don't know if that will be the case, but I kind of feel bad for Gabrielle Burnham. Like, yes, she is a difficult person to deal with for Michael in this episode, and she seems a little heartless in a few of her scenes, but like, She was trying to bend the universe to her will to save her lost child.
For 20 years, she's been doing that.
Yeah, and she's trying to find somebody she loves, and then not only does she lose her anyway, but she finds out she's literally alone in the galaxy. Like, talk about emotional whiplash. I mean, I really do feel for her, and you can see at points in this episode that it is killing her to talk to Michael this way, but she is absolutely doing it for a reason. Like, as a parent, sometimes you have to tell your child things they don't want to hear because it really will benefit them in the long run. But like, I was really, really feeling for her in this episode at least half of the time.
Well, I before I respond, I think a lot of our callers probably have stuff to say about this. So let's hear from one of them to get their perspective on Gabrielle Burnham.
Here is Melanie.
Hi guys! Perpetual Infinity, an interesting name. Well, it finally gives us some answers, like who's the Red Angel, but we still don't know who sent the signals. Pike has more of a backseat, but of course I like every scene he's in. I'm focusing on Michael for now though. The way Yu tries to tell her it's her mother, Michael's world is crumbling, again. At first, she's not allowed to see her. She's a tough nut and is totally committed to defeating Control before it kills all life in the universe. And it's all about the sphere data. Spock's dyslexia is the reason he could process the visions of the future. And then Michael convinces Pike to go down and talk to her. That's good. Why is Control such an a-hole? Like, what did we ever do to deserve this hate? And that's why we have a stop the end of all life as we know it and ask questions later situation. It becomes clear that Michael's mom can't stick around for several reasons. She has a mission to complete and Control seems set to kill her if she does stay in the present. Before she goes, however, Michael finally gets the closure she deserves. But that her mom has been there for all of Michael's biggest moments, really? That is somewhat rather creepy. And then we have the final 3 episodes. When I first watched these, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. They were so good. Oh boy. And Pike, damn it. But we're gonna talk about them soon, I guess. Live long and prosper, Melanie.
Damn it, Melanie, you stole one of my jokes. I was going to be like, so she was there for all of the big moments in Michael Burnham's life. All of them? Like,
I'm not going to touch that one with a 1,000-year-long time poll.
That's enough, but how was she there? What was she talking about? What?
Yeah.
What?
Because
there's a lot of hand wavy with what Gabrielle
so much hand wavy with that last.
Yeah. It does seem that like either she's not aware that using the suit generates a signal, or the signals don't get generated until, spoiler alert, the end of this season.
Well, I assume we're going to learn about the signal because they make a big deal about that.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. I'm trying
that
not to,
I actually remember from this season.
Well, more,
and I know that we have people listening that have not watched this season yet,
Sure.
so I'm trying not to give everything away.
Well, I haven't watched the rest yet, so yeah.
But my point being, like, it would appear that when she's using this suit, that's not what's generating the signal, right? Because otherwise there'd be like, when at the start of the season they say we've got these signals and we've never seen anything like it. But if just using the suit were causing those signals, they'd have like 100 points of data from all the times Gabrielle went back to watch Michael Burnham graduate.
I think what Cam's trying to say is you would have noticed the giant portal opening up during the graduation ceremony and sucking her into the sky.
I'm
pretty sure that's what Cam is
John,
getting.
because she talks about like being in the transporter room. I'm like, you're physically there. When you go back in time, you're physically there. We've seen it. It's a really cool shot. We've talked about how it's an amazing entrance.
Now, here's my only thing. One thing that I really like about this is that every time we see one of Gabby's logs, I'm going to call her Gabby because we're cool like that. Every time we see one of Gabby's logs, we see the little hovering camera drones
We
around,
see the Star Trek cameras!
Yes.
I like that because it's the first time Star Trek has ever addressed how do we have every angle of every event that happens all the time.
Them. I don't know why they're there. And also, like, guys, the reason you have that dynamic camera movement is to kind of hide effects.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool when you just see like a static security camera footage of something cool happening, like something cinematic happening. Like with the Spock footage, I think it's great that it's like just like that's cool looking. They could have shot all this from just a static camera. Not the stuff in the future, I guess, but
But I think that's the answer, is that she needs something to keep logs in the future.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a suggestion that this is happening to other people too. Like, this is a technology they had when Michael was a kid, right? So, like, it's possible that what Gabby is saying is, I watched all the video logs from your graduation. I watched the video logs of when you first got to the Enterprise. Like,
that's a stretch,
I was
but
there
okay.
in that I've seen it. But, like, because you're right, without that, it's like, no, you were not there.
We've
Like,
established
that room did not explode into a giant time portal. Like,
and then, like, yeah, so the Terralisium she kind of mentions, why did she save the Terralisium people? Just as kind of an experiment to see if she could change the future? Why them? Was she just like, I'm going to go back to World War III and find some people to save?
Well, and that's one of the things where I'm like, I could see where you maybe don't love Gabby Burnham, because she's like, I'm going to alter this entire colony's worth of people's lives just to see if it's even possible for me to do.
Well, she saved
she's
their
kind
lives,
of,
but...
She did, but she's kind of running experiments on people like they're rats in a cage, despite all their rage.
Well,
So, like,
run experiments on me if you're saving me from imminent death, but sure, yeah.
But it's also possible that what she's talking about, like, you know, when you change something, this happens. Time is a living thing.
Right.
So it's possible that she did go physically back and watch all those events, but those timelines get terminated.
And then she went back and like killed someone to terminate the timeline.
Right. I feel
Well,
like,
I just mean, like,
I feel like this is less of an experiment and more of like a Millennium, the movie Millennium type thing, where it's like, well, we know they're about to die, or a you know, Sound of Thunder. Like, yeah, we know it's going to die, and that what you do will have no impact. It's like, fuck it, take them and help ourselves in another time, kind of thing.
Yeah, she did to see if she
of
could stop control. Like,
Yeah.
do I have the ability to change this future I've discovered?
Well, and to John's point, she seems to just understand that, like, yeah, I can go do whatever I want because it all ends in control taking over. So, like, I'm not breaking the timeline.
Right.
I'm not creating
But it
paradoxes.
seems kind of weird, like, oh, I'm going to go save this random people I had no connection to. Like, did you just pick a date randomly just to see if I could? Well, just try to stop control.
Okay.
Do that.
You want to talk about picking a date randomly? She says before she jumps the first time, she goes, I'm just going to go back a couple minutes. How do you screw up the controls on your own time suit that you just built so bad that instead of going back in time a couple minutes, you go forward into the future 1,000 years?
Well, I think it's probably sort of a causal loop or a paradox of like, yeah, that she had to get to 950 years in the future. So like, it's one of those, yes, it's the first time using the suit for her in this time. That doesn't mean that we're getting into Primer territory here with like,
oh man,
go watch the movie Primer and you'll understand.
Okay, but if you can only go back in time to when you first turned the machine on, why is her anchor point 900 years in the future?
Because he rented the storage unit for that long and brought another machine into the machine with him.
I mean, that's time travel stuff. I'm just going to accept that when they tell me it. But so my other hand wavy thing is, she knows a lot about control. Suddenly she's like, so control did this, and then it did this, and it's learned this, and this is its goal. And I'm like, how did you learn all this? You can only go back in time for 30 seconds. Well, I think they established how long she's around in the last episode. It's not long. Like, she's not doing reconnaissance. How did she find out this information?
And how does she know who Spock is? Like, obviously she went there, but the way she talks about Spock is like she's met him. And like, it could just be that she's familiar with all of this because she's seen it 100 times.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that was a
I'll
later
ask the
log.
most Star Trek of questions. Where has she been pooping? Because she keeps getting yanked to a future where there's like no breathable air on the planet, and she has to be in that suit at all times.
She found a class and planet to live on.
Yeah, I'll tell you the answer to that wherever she feels like,
Yeah,
because
true,
there is nobody else around.
What are they going to do? Say no?
There's nobody going to judge you. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
You try all the different things. Like, I'm going to poop into space. I'm going to poop in the atmosphere. I'm going to poop on this planet.
All of this would have been so cool to see in a 45-minute story of Vigil. Like her figuring this out and answering these questions. And yeah, her discovering the world taken over by control. Like, I think if we had seen more of that, this whole season would feel like the stakes would feel more real. Because it is all very theoretical. Like, well, we know it's going to destroy the universe. It hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right that there are pieces of this where you have to go, it's fine, it's a sci-fi. But like, I completely agree that like, give me the Gabby Burnham cut.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would totally be here for that. Like, I think it would be a great episode, and it would really kind of, I think it would make the first conversation she has with Michael, where she's just totally stonewalling her, I think it would make that more effective, and it makes her more sympathetic of a character. Like, if we watched her try to save Michael 50 times and Michael always dies, like, it would work better than her saying, like, I've seen you die 100 times, because it's like, that just comes across as like ice cold.
Well, that's, I mean, to everything you were just saying about defending Gabrielle, Jesse, I agree. Like, I agree with your points, and I think seeing her story would have made it work more, like you were just saying, because the problem is like, I totally buy her attitude towards Michael on that middle scene. It's just like, we had just seen her log saying like, oh God, I just want to see Michael. I long to be there. I can't stay there long enough. It keeps pulling me back. I'm trying. And so, yeah, just having her kind of explain it later, it doesn't feel the same as if we had watched it and we knew how she had gotten from point A to point B. We're missing that connective tissue.
Well, and my issue with that log where Michael is, the scene where Michael is watching her logs, is that it goes like log 39, log 41, log 43. Like, no, give me like log 39, then log 164, then log 827, you know, like really drive home, because as it is, we're only seeing the start and end point of her journey. Yeah. And I sort of get it. Like, that's kind of the point of this character, is that she has 2 points in her life that make the entire rest of her life matter. But like, I don't know. There were some small things where I was like, you know what? If I was a writer, here's what I would have did. But again, not a writer. But as a viewer, I was like, I kind of want more from Gabby. And I gotta just point this out. Ash Tyler is the exact opposite of Gabby Burnham, who's trying to save all sentient life in the galaxy. He puts all sentient life in the galaxy at risk because he doesn't really feel quite comfortable telling Leland no. Like, come on, dude, you're in Section 31. Disobeying orders and standing up to superiors should be SOP for all of you. And he's just like, well, he did give me a second chance. Like, I hate Ash Tyler so much, you guys.
Well, but you do love our callers, so let's hear from another one. Here is Mark.
Hi, Open Pike Night Engineer Mark here. And we're up to an episode that's a full turning point for the season. Finally, all the answers on the Red Angel. Now, am I the only one that got serious Borg vibes with Leland when he was assimilated by Control? There's really no other way to put that one. The one beef I have is the middle of this episode is a whole bunch of clunky in setting up for what is the beginning of the end of this arc of discovery. More jumping around than the Strange New Worlds trailer, and it makes it easily forgettable for me. But then it all comes together with first Giorgio kicking some serious ass against the Leland thing. And then the raw humanity of Burnham and her mom as it really all falls apart around them. It's so moving. Serious whiplash there. And then it all wraps up with Burnham and Spock sitting down to try again at chess at the end, which was a nice touch as it said much about both of them. So, the roller coaster ride will continue. And as always, live long and prosper.
I knew it! I knew it, John Bowles!
Fine.
They finished the chess game.
5 fucking episodes later. They pick
so
up the
many
chess
episodes later.
John, do you think chess is a quick game? Have you ever played chess?
You're right. It's 3 times as long as a normal chess game.
That's true.
It is quicker than Risk, to be fair.
Yeah. And then Axis and Allies is...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Engineer Mark is totally right, though, about the jumping around and the Strange New World Season 3 trailer, which you can go back in our feed and check out our coverage of, because, oh my gosh, we had a ton of fun doing that. And we cannot wait for Season 3 of Strange New Worlds so that we can get back to talking about episodic stories and not a 9-hour movie. I love Discovery, but it is absolutely a 9-hour movie, or a 14-hour movie in this case, I guess, closer to probably 12 or 13. But yes, like the middle part of this feels like so much setup that you know they're doing, right? Like, should you as a viewer be aware of like why an episode exists on a conscious level? Like, shouldn't you just be able to sit and be told a story and be like, I love this story, I want to know what happens next, as opposed to, okay, now they're telling me what's going to happen next, or they're putting pieces in place. Like, and the chess metaphor is, it's very like level 1 metaphor, right? Like, I'm not mad at this episode. There were just things where I was like, I'm watching Star Trek. I'm smart enough for this. You don't have to hold my hand all the way through this.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, what are they setting up? What are you talking about?
Okay, so spoiler alert, Cam, time crystals.
Mhm.
They're setting up time crystals.
I mean, there's a little bit of foreshadowing with that. I mean, they set up the time crystals last episode.
They did, but they're giving you even more time crystal stuff here. You get
now
to
they have
see
a reason
exactly.
to have to go find time crystals because they also set up the big villain, the now big villain of the rest of the season with Leland. And it's like, oh yeah, he could make big guns out of little guns and shoots a hole through the the angel's chest. I mean, which was a cool. Like, that is what Star Trek guns are supposed to look like. Like, come on,
right? And they're kind of just personifying the villain they've been skating around this whole time, but like. Point being, they're giving you direct access points to the rest of the story. Like, here's how a time crystal works. Here's what the suit does. Michael and Spock are fine. They're going to plan.
They don't mention time crystals this episode. What?
They do in the very beginning. She's putting the suit together. One of the first
words. You're right.
And and at the end when she's like, there's no time crystal. There's no suit. There's no
right.
Oh,
they do mention them a couple times.
Okay.
And her saying, I don't know what signals you're talking about, actually is explicitly a setup for the next 3 episodes.
I mean, every episode does. I guess, like, it's true, not a lot happens this episode. Everyone's right about that, 100%. But, I mean, it is a big episode. It's the episode we find out who the Red Angel is and what the Red Angel has been doing. Like, that's what this episode is. And that's something we've been waiting for 9 episodes.
And like you said, they should have just focused on that.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think feel kind of sidebarred, and we can talk about that later too.
Yeah,
and I think that's the issue is that they're implying so much has happened in an episode where not very much actually happens.
Yeah.
But like, I will defend the points that like, yes, they have to set this stuff up. So I completely get it, and I think they do a good job of it. I like seeing Georgiou come in here with like, excuse me, I'm your mom. What are you talking about? Like, I will go down there and talk to her right now. And I love the scenes between Georgiou and Gabrielle.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good scenes.
Also, Jesse, I'm sorry. I love the scenes between Georgiou and Ash. Like, that coupling was so good. And I wanted more of this episode made me so sad for what we finally got out of the Section 31 movie. I was like, this is what it could have been. It could have been like her and Ash being buddies and quippy and her kicking fucking ass.
I would just say that she elevates those scenes, and he's definitely in them. But you know who would never give up on Michael Burnham? Amanda.
That's true.
Why is Amanda not in this scene yelling at both of these moms? Like, she would absolutely chew them both out. Like, and I would be here for it all the way.
And then Cornwell comes in as like the cool aunt, the wine aunt or something. Like, all of you are wrong.
But, like, as I was watching it, one thing that I did really appreciate is that, like, a lot of this episode revolves around scenes that are exclusively women talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point was I like, oh, they had to do, like, they felt
DI
compelled
episode.
to give a scene. Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is just really well constructed to make this all fit completely organically. But I don't know, Cam, like, to me, the Ash Tyler character is not interesting. Like, the premise of him is not interesting to me past season 1.
Then give us a Section 31 movie with Gabrielle and Georgiou.
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Happy with all of that.
I'm just much better with Ash this season than last season. Last season was a fucking hot turd.
I mean,
okay, but enough of that.
Vogue was cool.
and like Sonia Sohn has what it takes to stand up to Michelle Yeoh. Like in a scene like that, like they cast her very well. It just makes me want to go watch The Wire again. So
we now know where Michael got her single tier proclivities was absolutely from her biological mom
and her savior complex. Like I was just watching, I was like, "Oh shit, she's Michael."
And her, I'm always right.
Yeah.
I know I'm right.
I have to save the universe. It has to be me. Don't save me. Whatever you do, don't give me what I really truly want out of life. That wouldn't be good.
Which I think it's good writing.
No,
because
100%.
you're realizing that as it's happening.
Totally.
You're like, oh, this is Michael.
Yeah.
Like, this may as well be an older Michael as opposed to a completely separate character, right? Because they share all the most important traits. And I kind of like how her dad sort of gets kind of glossed over.
Yeah.
Like,
what?
Yeah, he was great, but like, really, I was really just trying to save
Her
you in
dad
the universe. But
died,
like,
right?
He's there.
I think Klingons killed him, yeah.
Because, she keeps saying something about, like, I'm going to come and get you and your dad, or there's talk about her dad that made me very confused.
She's trying to save them both, but, like, I think what I actually think works really well about that is the, like, double just emotional gut punch that Michael takes of, like, oh, you're telling me my mom's alive? Does that mean my dad's alive too? And it's like, no, he's not.
No.
He's very, very dead.
Yeah, he got Uncle Owen and Aunt Berude. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. We Mark talked about. He brought up again how Leland was Borgified, and sure, but he also gets Darth Vaderified because Ash stumbles across him in his little Darth Vader chamber, which I thought was that was another reference I took out of Leland.
It's also another point in the control is dumb column. Like,
So
really,
dumb.
you're doing this in the middle of a well lit room?
Yeah,
like on a slab,
without locking the door. Yeah,
dude, do it in the bathroom where nobody's gonna just burst through the door. Like, hey, Leland, is your face made of nanites? Just a second, I'm still flushing. Like, that would work. That has worked on humans for centuries. I don't know why the control AI did not just give that a shot. Like, this whole episode is about why not just the bathroom. I'm coming to realize.
Exactly. Yep.
Between this and Gabby.
All right. Well, let's hear from the caller. Here is Katie.
Speaking of the bath. Oh, wait, no.
Hey, hi, it's Katie. So this might be a weird take, but this episode felt very filler to me. It might just be because it was kind of a tame episode, despite all of the emotions that Michael was going through. We weren't getting 10,000 things coming at us all at once. It's not really a complaint. Just it was quite the shift in pace, and I wasn't really expecting it. A couple of things that I did really just catch my eye, I suppose, in this. I, for one, would really like to know what Tilly's favorite law of physics is, because honestly, Tilly is adorable, and I think she deserves to get to geek out about laws of physics whenever she feels like. There was an Admiral Cornwell mention, which, made me happy. The fact that she wasn't in this episode did not. Bit of a waste. Spock, at one point, just goes, I like science. And you know what, Spock? I also like science. I agree. I feel that. I don't know what Tyler is doing with his spying, because, talk about having private conversations in incredibly public places. The man is talking about spying on the people that can overhear the conversation he is having in the middle of a freaking hallway with people walking past. Dude, like, I'm not even surprised that you got stabbed by the end of the episode, because if you're going to be that bad of a spy, someone's going to stab you. I'm not even going to feel bad about it, because...
Thank you.
Well, because you're Ash Tyler, but also because you're really bad at your job. And finally, Michael's mom is not, to my great surprise, being added to the list of deadbeat Starfleet parents, or Star Trek parents, whichever. We have way too many of those. I'm glad that she's not on that list. I'm very sorry for Michael that she's not on that list, and I'm just really sorry for what Michael had to go through with that in general. That part really sucked. All right, that's all I got. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Great points all around, Katie. Can we all just agree Gabrielle Burnham is the opposite kind of parent that Worf is? Like, she will go to the actual ends of the universe to save her child, and Worf is like, Alex, who? But I really like everything you said, and I agree with 90% of it. Here's a nitpick, okay? The term filler episode sort of bugs me, and it's not because, like, I think you're wrong or you've done something bad. But, like, there is in my mind and heart, there is no such thing as a filler episode. This is absolutely not a plot episode. It is a character episode, for sure. But, like, okay, and maybe, like, if you're watching Bleach, where there are, like, 1,500 episodes, yeah, there's going to be filler episodes. But in a 14-episode season of prestige television, I don't personally feel that it's fair to call it filler. They absolutely wrote this how they meant to write it, and they're using it to get us somewhere else. So I think I would go back to, it's not a plot episode so much as it is a character episode. So that's kind of the only spot where I'll disagree with you. But everything else you said, 100% spot on. Gabby rocks. Tyler sucks. Like, this is a very good episode for what we get between all of our characters. I mean, to show up and say to legendary Starfleet Captain Pike, you got some shit coming up, but let's not talk about that right now, is like such a flex. And
I'm surprised she wasn't like, you'd be surprised. It's hair-raising, Pike. Hair-raising.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay.
How do we even
Brush up.
continue the conversation after that? I know Pike is fucking steel. Jesse, just go watch any of the Netflix Marvel TV series, and you will see filler episodes.
Yes, you will.
Okay,
Yes, you
but
will.
what does that mean? It's there because they needed an episode?
It means they were told to do 14 episodes, but they only had enough story to fill 10.
Yep.
And there's a whole middle, like 4 episodes where you're just like, what's going on? Nothing is moving. Nothing is happening.
Okay, that I understand. But here, I would say they probably wrote 17 episodes and were told, cram this into 14.
Well, they were
Right?
probably
Like,
told how many
right.
episodes to. I mean, technically, season 1 has a filler episode or 2, right? Because they added some after the fact.
I hate to say this. Again, I'll bring up, this is the season where Tilly gets haunted by a ghost alien. That is a filler episode. And then, like, how important is that happened? Not super important.
Well,
Could have been
yeah,
told other ways. But
It's weird because that's it's only there so we can bring Colbert back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not even a Tilly story.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I would qualify that as the filler of the season. I do like that you brought up Spock also, because there are some fun Spock moments in this, and it's like, yeah, you know, like
I
just
like
flat
science.
out, I like science, but also the whole, you know, Gabrielle literally just adding to the pile of Spock is the most important person in the galaxy. In the Milky Way galaxy, this Vulcan is the most important ever, apparently.
Yeah.
And like, okay.
And I totally buy it.
Yeah.
He's really good in that opening scene too. I forget what he says when he comes in, but it's funny. And then Michael,
Like, oh, I see you're fine.
Yeah, and then he replies with that it's all good. One other thing about Pike, I do just love his, like, I do not get paid enough for this look when Michael comes on the bridge. He's like, everything he has to deal with, like, okay, fate of the universe, time travel, finally finding out who the Red Angel is. Now I've got like this mother-daughter reunion bullshit I've got to juggle. What is happening? Why me?
Completely agree.
Never had
And
to do this on the
answer your-
Enterprise.
Yet.
Yeah.
Because he totally has to do this around Spock at the end of season 1.
Yes.
But to answer Katie's question, my guess at Tilly's favorite law of physics is probably the Stefan Boltzmann law, which describes the total energy radiated by a black body as a function of its temperature. And I say that because when she realizes dark matter from 10 episodes ago might be of use in this situation, she looks very, very excited.
Oh,
And
that's
she
right.
was
Didn't
very
she get
excited.
like smacked in the head by dark matter in this season too?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And she was very excited to capture the dark matter asteroid. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't know if this Stefan Boltzmann law is actually talking about dark matter, because I'm not a physicist. But, you know, I felt like it was an okay guess on my part.
So they brought up the dark matter in, they captured the asteroid, she got infested by a ghost, all this stuff happened, they say, we have dark matter, we can solve this problem, and then it just fizzles the fuck out. That whole episode and a half we saw about the dark matter asteroid, like, yeah, nope, that didn't work.
It doesn't have unlimited energy, John. It just has a lot.
It was a little frustrating. Like, oh, that's right. We did build up to this whole thing.
Aren't they planning to use it in the next few episodes? Isn't that what they're going to use to do something?
I thought that's what they were going to use to transport Gabrielle out of this.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
And then they just don't. Right. Yeah.
You're right. Never mind.
Also, shouldn't she be completely dead? Because didn't she get sucked through that wormhole not in the suit? Like,
exactly. Where's she pooping?
Come on, man.
Yeah, her whole, like, she's connected to the suit. That was some technobabble.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and hear from another call. Here's our friend. Who did I just play? Katie? Here is Grayson.
Hey guys, it's Grayson, or TV guy Grayson, I guess. Currently very proud to be a contributor to the Trek 365 podcast, right along with Jesse. Why doesn't he put anything on his hot dogs? And Cameron, honestly, it is an honor to be included in that project, especially amongst the likes of y'all. All right, let's get to this episode. Look, I'm going to be honest. I have never liked the Red Angel. Why call it an angel? In a universe that is so deeply scientific and secular, it feels so out of place in a story that is really about hard technology, a rogue AI. I mean, it is ripped from the headlines. So what if we ditch the angel altogether and the confusing time travel? Let's say Burnham's mom isn't stuck in a time loop. She's being held by Section 31 or operating undercover. Yes, there's some mommy-daddy brother drama to deal with, but ultimately, with the help of her family, Michael devises a plan. Lure Control into Discovery and use the spore drive to jump to a distant region of space, like the Void from Voyager. Essentially air gapping it, right? The only catch, it's a one-way trip because subspace tachyon anomalies or whatever. But during the jump, Control hijacks the spore drive and reaches into the mycelial network. But the space fungus fights back. It consumes Control. That digital entity implodes, chaos ripples through the Shroomiverse, and Discovery is flung into the future. No angel, no mysticism, just smart people willing to sacrifice it all and using science to save the galaxy. Okay, rant over. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, Grayson, I smell what you're stepping in, but it's not like they really think it's an angel, man. Like, it's a name they're using because it's a humanoid with wings. Like, I get it. I completely get it. And if you don't like the conceit of, suit-based time travel, I will say, I love your fix for this. I absolutely do. Yeah. But for me, it's not a problem. Like, I completely get where you're coming from. And I think, like, as close as we get to that being an issue for me is Pike suggesting maybe this really is a divine being several episodes back, where I was like, come on, he wouldn't do that. Like, I think he was using it to get them to think outside the box, right? Like, hey, challenge your own assumptions on this because you may need to do that to solve this problem. But, like, I don't know, what is the what is the term for winged humanoid with powers that appear to be beyond all humans? Like,
well, not only
it's okay with me is what I'm throwing out there.
Not only is it okay, I think, with the writers, but I think it's the feature of the writers. Have you heard some of these opening Michael logs they've written in these episodes?
Oh, man.
They are so overly poetic and flowery. They are definitely playing in the whole like religion and Alice in Wonderland classic literature. What's the term I'm looking for? Not religious, but I mean, yeah, with they're wanting to play in the religious sandbox with symbols and higher meanings beyond just that of technology.
Well, this episode is also my, like, one of my absolute favorite GIFs to use on the Star Trek community online on Blue Sky. Follow us at Open Pike. Is Michael Burnham, like, almost looking at the camera and saying, hell yeah. And I love that scene. But, like, Spock's literary quote is a little bit Hamlet-fisted before Michael beams down, I think.
Yeah, I was like, what? Why did he? Whatever. She said, hell yeah, and beamed out. It's a great moment.
This is Spock, not Picard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other point that I completely agree with you on, Grayson, is getting to contribute to Trek 365. I am very almost a little bit like jealous that I didn't come up with an idea for a daily Star Trek podcast that's exactly 365 seconds long every time. And yes, I would also like to thank Isaac for allowing us all in the Star Trek podcasting community to contribute to that. Like, you think of a Star Trek podcast that you like to listen to, they have probably contributed to Trek 365, so go check it out. I always say 365, but then I hear Isaac say 365, so I don't know if one is more proper than the other, but I completely agree with Grayson.
Nice.
Yeah, it gave me a chance to finally watch The Doomsday Machine, which is an amazing episode of TOS. So yeah, thank you, Isaac.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's hear from another caller. Here is Abby.
Hey, Open Pike. It's Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. Just popping in to talk a little bit about Perpetual Infinity, which sounds really cool when I phrase it like that. But this is such a beautiful episode. And one of the little details that always gets me is how Michael's mom calls her baby girl. I call my daughters that. And I did before this was out. And it just gets me every time. Those moments between them, the ones that are so tough to watch because they're so guarded, the ones that are so open and then they're tough to watch. Watching her fight and talk about how she's always been there, that's a mama moment right there. And I absolutely love it. So this is one that's really hard. I mean, you think a lot about how there's a lot of mothers in Michael's life, whether it's Amanda or her actual mom or Giorgio. And in this season really shows a lot of that relationship. And I really like that about the season. So there's plenty more to talk about. I'm sure other people will. But that's what I'm going to add to this discussion. So I hope this finds you well. We'll talk soon.
Abby knows her Star Trek.
Yes, she
does.
And
I completely agree. Thank you for bringing up the moms again. Like, I'm right there with you. Like, I've been like in places public with my daughter, and she'll like ask me a question or I'll reply with yes, princess. And I've had other kids ask me like, who is princess? And I'm like, that's not her name. Just like, I almost never call her by her name. It's princess, it's baby girl, it's chunk, it's sweetheart. Like, I completely agree with you there. Like, not even 1,000 years of bullshit could keep me from infantilizing my child at every opportunity.
Yeah, just speaking of the moms real quick, how did Giorgio figure out control, that Leland was control?
Said the same exact...
It was a phrasing.
It was a phrasing.
So what's the connection there? Why would she use the same phrase as control?
Because she's been studying control for 20 years.
So control uses that phrase a lot?
Apparently. So she's talked to control, apparently.
Apparently, maybe something. Yeah, that does.
Well, she has a lot of data on it, right?
Yeah,
like
somehow, yeah.
So, and she knows, like, for her, she knows that the inflection point is Michael and the sphere data. So she's like,
right. It just seemed like a weird phrase that, like, because I mean that's a trope, right? Like, oh, you said the same thing. Now I know. But it was just a weird phrase. I was like, that. It's not that telling. Like, oh, maybe that's just a literary reference that she doesn't know.
Well, I think they've all read Hamlet, Cameron, but they could. You're right that absolutely could have been more specific of a phrase.
Yeah.
Like if she had said like, well, and I guess he doesn't say anything else that Control would say directly, except to Ash Tyler, who's lying in a pool of blood. But like, I did really like the point that Giorgio is the one who figures this out. Like all of Michael's moms come together over the course of this season to set her on a path that she didn't necessarily know was even an option. Like Amanda shows up, tells her how to help Spock, says you have to do this. Her actual mom shows up and says like, here's the deal, you're going to let me do this. And then Giorgio is like, oh, actually I could at least help you. But it does again raise the question of like, why isn't Leland Control Bot using lethal force on everybody?
Using like, nanobots. Just turn everyone into a nanobot.
Yeah.
Or turn your hand into a sword. Like, come on. Like, he kills a bunch of Starfleet officers, but then doesn't finish the job with Ash, and then hand-to-hands Giorgio? Like, this is the dumbest AI in the world outside of ChatGPT.
It just made me think of the movie Basic with Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta, where it was just one phrase that clued him. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget Giovanni Ribisi.
That's right.
And Connie Nielsen. There's a hell of a lot of people in that movie, I think.
Isn't that the Rashomon
I'm just excited.
movie?
Yeah, it's a Rashomon movie. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
yeah.
just excited that I know the movie you're talking about for once in my life. Like, oh,
you
I've
just have to
seen
tell the
that.
story right. That's all it is. Yeah. Well, with telling the story right, we always have to get to our final caller. And tonight, that honor goes to our friend Platty M3. Here he is.
Hey, Open Pike Night. This is Platty M3 calling in with my hit, shits, and giggles. Hit. Yeah, Ash Tyler got stabbed. Woo!
Yeah.
Also, numbers. Woohoo! So, Starfleet has 7,000 ships at this time period, and I'm going to assume that 100 years later in TNG era, that's got to be much higher. Makes me feel so much better knowing that only 40 ships were lost at Wolf 359. Not a big number out of that one. Just a big bummer. Oh,
Still
and
a lot of
speaking of
people.
murder, that Klingon ship that landed at Michael's house was awesome. Shits. How did Michael's mom find out that Control got sphere data and then destroyed the galaxy?
Yes.
And with literally all life in the galaxy gone and just having her suit, what's she eating? How's she surviving? Just going 950 years in the future doesn't make you omnipotent. Another shit. If you watch the interactions with 10-year-old Michael, that looks 14, and her mom, they're the same freaking height. Later, meeting as adults, they're the same freaking height. Guess that vegetarian Vulcan diet was shit to Michael. She never grew up. Final shit. Tyler's alive. Giggles. Now, Philippa says at one point that her mom taught her to survive. Ha ha! Conveniently
Right?
left out how that advice backfired on her.
Yeah.
Ash Tyler again. Seems appalled at committing espionage against another Starfleet ship. What the fuck, dude? Isn't that half the point of Section 31?
Yeah.
This guy's like a laughingstock in every situation. He can't live on Kronos. He can't follow Section 31 orders. He can't kill a dude and keep him dead. He can't kiss. What a guy to giggle at. And to frickin' hate. Platty M3 signing off.
Thank you, Platty. Nobody could have put it more succinctly than that. Like, there is nothing redeemable about Ash Tyler. He also cannot shave. I'll throw that in there. I'm sure he used one of those little drone robots to do that. He was like, make me look presentable. And they were like, all right, well, let's trim this at least a little bit. But yeah, I think we've talked about at least the end result of eating with Gabby Burnham, but you gotta imagine she was just going back to all her favorite restaurants, stealing whatever, and then taking that to the future with her because she knows this timeline doesn't matter.
Is she able to do that in the Red Angel? It doesn't seem like she can do much when she goes back in time. Like she hovers there and then gets sucked back.
Dude, she
'Cause she
has
can't
a bring you
communicate.
back to life
Yeah.
beam. Like,
She did have
she
that.
can go
Ion
steal
beam,
a
yeah.
sandwich.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe, yeah. Going back to the flashback,
That was 600 of the 900 logs. It was just stealing food.
and using the toilet. She'd go back in time and use a toilet to take.
she's
If
like,
you've ever walked
ate
into
at
your
Wendy's.
bathroom and been like, "Who left that shit there?" Gabby Burnham.
She's like, ate at Wendy's before they changed the fries. Not so great. Ate at Wendy's after they changed the fries. Totally here for it. In and out, overrated. I assume she's just like me.
Leaving Yelp reviews everywhere.
Hell yeah.
Going back to the flashback at the beginning, it did give me serious Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast vibes with like this super precocious, smart girl and her scientist parents, written by one of the writers being, Bill Wolkoff. So check out that show. It's an amazing show.
And I'm glad he brought up that Klingon ship because, like, I feel there's always been a missing step in Klingon ship morphology, right? Because, like, seriously, as a Star Trek fan, you see Klingon ships in TOS, you see Romulan ships in TOS, and then in TNG, Romulan ships look much more Klingon than they did in TOS, and you're like, what is going on here? But this Klingon ship looks much more Romulan.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Than we're used to. Like, it's got the curved wings. Like, it looks like a bird of prey. I really, really like that we get to see that. And I like that it makes, like, almost in-universe sense where you're like, well, at some point they must have encountered each other and they went, let's take what works from that and use it on our own designs. So I'm absolutely glad we got to see that too. I do feel for Michael. Like, I was the precocious kid who was like, oh, actually, did you know that the longest dinosaur name is Micropachycephalosaurus? Like, and that's probably changed by now because they're always finding new dinosaurs. Well, new old dinosaurs. But I remember being that kid in that situation where you're like, I can talk with these adults, and like walking away from that conversation like, yeah, I totally crushed it. When like, meanwhile, those adults are probably like, so how about that kid, huh? Yeah. Like, I feel for Michael at all times, and definitely also when she was a kid.
So I don't know why I've left like maybe my biggest beef with this episode till the end. I'm just looking at my notes and saying that's what's left. But for as much as I like the opening for like, oh, this is what they would say, this is how it would go down. Like most of the conversations with Gabrielle, who I'm just now realizing her name is Gabrielle Byrne. Since you've been saying that, Jesse, all episode it's been throwing me Gabrielle Byrne. No, Gabrielle Byrne fans.
No. You mean Gabriel Byrne?
Yes. Gabriel Byrne?
Oh, okay.
Yes. I mean Gabriel
Well,
Byrne.
Cameron, those are two different names, so forgive me.
Forgive me, yes. No, they're spelled exactly the same, pretty much.
No,
Probably
they are not.
They sound
Gabriel
closer than they're
is...
spelled. You're right. But Gab or Gabe, come on. Okay. So every time you say it, I think that's what you're talking about. I'm like, was he in this? Why is she so hostile to Pike? The whole everything that is established, like I'm trying to get back. I can't stay back. I'm trying to save the past. I can't. The technology won't let me stay there. She now has the chance to work with the past to achieve her goals. Why is she like, send me the fuck back? Don't talk to me.
That's a fair question.
Like telling them to delete it is a good idea. Have the conversation, Gabrielle.
Well, and again, Gabrielle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure Charlotte and Carlotta are the same name too, right? but I get where you're coming from because like she takes the time to tell him like I know who you are. You got some bad stuff coming up right now, and she even says you're from the Enterprise, but right now you're on the Discovery. But then she says you'll be back on your ship soon. Mm-hmm. Is she saying? Yes, we're going to make Strange New Worlds. You'll be back on
she's confirming
Enterprise
Strange New Worlds in that line.
Earliest confirmation, but you're right, because I can't answer that question. I don't know why she's completely unwilling to have the conversation with him, other than maybe she's like worried that being here is like damaging the suit and is like, stop damaging my suit. But she doesn't say that.
Well, because she's been alone for decades. Like I think she's in a
sure.
Obviously, I'm the only one. She, like we said, she is Michael Burnham's mother. So it's like, no, obviously I'm the only one who can do this. And by the end of the episode, she's saying, okay, that's a good idea, putting the data in the suit. Yeah. That's actually a really good idea.
Oh, shit.
But I'm the one who has to fly it.
I know, yeah.
You know what it is? She's seen several versions of Pike, and she's disappointed that this is not tall hair Strange New Worlds.
That's what it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was like, you're not even that jacked, dude. Like, you're in shape, but like, you're not wider at the top than you are at the bottom yet. What's going on with that?
She's like, you're no McNulty. Come on, what's going on?
I do think maybe what they're going for is like she was worried Control was going to kill her. She's like, I need to get back because as long as I'm here, I'm in danger. But she doesn't really say that until the next scene, and even then, not very clearly. So yeah, the stakes for like why she won't. This is a perfect opportunity for her to achieve her goal. And
yeah. But to John's
and then
point,
why Pike wouldn't ask her about, hey, by the way, your daughter's here. Why didn't you want to see her? Like, why wouldn't he ask her that?
Yeah. And that I also don't have an answer for, but to John's point, I think it is meant to reinforce that she is absolutely having the savior complex here. She's like, look, I've tried this. I've seen you die. You're a ghost to me. Like, this isn't what's going to help me fix the problem. And then later on, you're right. She does sort of realize like, oh, maybe he is. So I guess between her and Michael this season, the whole lesson is like, give Captain Pike a chance. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely the lesson that the fans came away with too. And I cannot wait to get back to Strange New Worlds.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, before we do that, we do have to each pick our song that best represents this episode. And we were talking before we started recording that this is a hard episode to pick a song for. Because not a lot happens. And it's just, it really is moving pieces around.
There's not a lot of mom songs that aren't just like super sappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you'd like, I can start.
Please.
Okay.
So I picked Mama by the Spice Girls, and no, I'm totally playing. But it's a better song than you would think it is.
Yeah, most
the
Spice
song
Girls
that I
songs
actually
are.
picked. Yeah. I don't know if I go that far. The movie was better than I thought it would
100%.
be. Spice World.
Yeah.
My wife had me watch that, and I think as a teenager, I would have been like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. But as an adult, I'm like, oh, they're doing a pretty good facsimile of like a Beatles movie of the 60s. Like, this totally works. Or maybe 70s. I don't know when the Beatles were making movies, you guys. But to stick with kind of my theme and genre with this whole season, I have chosen For You by Stained. It is a song from a child to their mother or their father, and it's written from the point of view of a son or a daughter. And they want to know if the screams are loud enough for their parent to hear them. So it's got, stuff like I'm locked inside my head, I remember everything you said, this silence gets us nowhere, which is true. Nothing is happening until Gabrielle is willing to accept that maybe these other people do have ideas worth listening to. The silence is what kills me. Like, that's almost literal here, because if she doesn't accept this help, she may die. Everybody may die. She's locked inside her head. There's insults in this stuff, and it's making Michael feel like she's not a person. So it was hard to pick a song that I felt fit like the emotional energy of this, but I feel like the lyrical parallels for You by Stained are absolutely here for Perpetual Infinity.
Okay.
I like it.
Well, I settled on a Gary Newman song. And I wasn't sure
There's
about
no
it
settling
first.
on Gary Newman. That's a good pick. I don't even know what song it is.
Well, I only allow myself one a season, so I picked mine for this episode. And I'm liking it more and more. I chose Me, I Disconnect From You. Now, lyrically, I think the song is about Leland. The alarm rang for days. You could tell from conversations. I was waiting by the screen. I couldn't recognize my photograph. Me, I disconnect from you. That sounds like something that Leland could have gone through as he was being assimilated. Please don't turn me off. I could tell his mind decaying only inches away from me. So very much, but kind of the vibe of the song, the theme, like the metaphor underneath, is someone pushing someone they care for away, much like Gabrielle does to Michael. Because she cannot risk her mission, she can't risk falling in love with Michael all over again and allowing herself that motherly warmth, because it might convince her, it's temptation for her to abandon her mission of saving the universe. She keeps Michael at arm's length and she tries to disconnect from Michael. And so I think it works for both stories.
I was going to say, I hope you can tie this back to a character I like, Cameron, and you did it. Good job.
With Leland, a point I was going to make that I didn't before with him, with the whole justice for Leland, I wish they would have given him a little bit of a redemptive arc in the last episode. Like, if he had sacrificed something, if it had turned out like he was a better guy than we all thought, and then this episode, he gets captured and he puts up a fight, but Control takes him over. I think that would have been pretty interesting for him, instead of just, he's an asshole and then he gets taken over and he's a bigger asshole.
Do you mind if I use the hybrid version of that song for the
Please.
episode? Because I think the hybrid version is the best version of that song.
You're right.
Okay.
Yes.
Slow. Like the fast version is great, but the slowed down version with those driving beats at the beginning.
I mean, the hybrid version of most of his stuff is the best version.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah. And did you know you can't find hybrid anymore?
What?
Like, it's not on any music service. I'm so glad I have all of those songs like saved and downloaded.
100%.
So yeah.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from the whole season, is that you should get the things you like on physical media.
Yes.
Because the AI and the digital domain will absolutely take those things away from you and destroy them completely.
Much like the Library of Alexandria or the weird alien reference that Saru makes, which I love when they do in Star Trek.
Oh yeah, Saru's in this episode. Yeah.
He really doesn't want to destroy that data.
Nope. I went with one that I think makes about as much sense as this episode. I'm going to just kind of go through the entire second verse here. First couple lines are like a tunnel that you follow to a tunnel of its own, down a hollow to a cavern where the sun has never shone. That's where Pike is heading in this next episode. He's got to go. He literally has to journey down that far to get the time crystal. If I remember right, it's kind of a Indiana Jones type test, right? Mm-hmm. And, like a door that keeps revolving in a half-forgotten dream, or the ripples from a pebble someone tosses in a stream. It's like, okay, we're getting into really timey stuff here. We're not making a lot of sense with our explanations about what's going on. And then we get right at a time. We're like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face. They want to send the suit past its point in time, so it's in perpetual infinity. And, verse ends with like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind. And that's the song I chose for this. I think I'm going to go with the Petula Clark version, because that song has been covered 900 times. And there's a lot of good versions of it. But I've always liked that song. It's a very haunting song to me. And I think it's a good choice for this episode.
All right.
And it's from 1969, so that's even more time travel-y. What a great pick, John.
Exactly. Thank you. These are all good picks. Like, man.
Yeah.
I even know your song, Jesse. It's always fun when I know Jesse's song.
These are like moments that matter to us is when I know a movie John and Cameron are referencing and when they know a song that I am referencing.
Exactly.
It's how we get to know each other through the things that we love.
That's right.
So next time you're thinking about watching this episode, instead go listen to the Gary Newman remix album. Watch Basic with John Travolta and Samuel Jackson.
That's right.
And don't worry about this one.
Yeah. Don't sweat the
Skip
small
to the next episode. Yeah.
I'd say just watch the next episode.
just
'cause
watch
I
the next
love
episode.
the next
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. It is a good episode.
So time crystally.
Yes.
Confession time. I spoke about the next episode in the Valley of Shadows on the It's Got Star Trek podcast as a guest.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know how to make new notes for that episode because I tried to pour all my love and devotion for that episode into that episode of It's Got Star Trek, which you should absolutely go check out. But like, I promise you guys, I'll try to write new notes for that episode. I'll try and tabula rasa this thing before we get to next week.
Sounds good. All right. Well, it has been a long night, and the Open Pike Night crew has to go get sucked into a big red hole into the future, or hopefully
Cameron,
that'll
don't.
pass the time until the season 3 of Strange New World starts. But until then, be sure to clean up after yourselves. Be sure to tip your servers. You can go anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.
I'm glad you asked, John. The easiest way folks can do that is to go to openpike.com and record their message right there on the website. And if you'd like to become a patron at patreon.com/openpike, you get some really cool perks. You can sign up for as little as $2 a month. Those folks got to hear our Jonathan Frakes interview early, and they got to watch the video version where we break down the Strange New World Season 3 teaser that was recently released.
True.
And Cameron,
Yo.
what have you been talking about on Green Shirt and Newbies Trek the TNG?
Speaking of time travel, we've been having very long conversations about the TNG movies. We're bringing the same in-depth analysis and overabundance of dick jokes from a 45-minute episode to 2 hours of TNG cinematic goodness. So come check us out over there. We also will be having an interview with Tracy Lee Coco, Instant J herself at some point.
Hey.
She has agreed to come on and talk to us, so we will be figuring out what a green shirt interview sounds like. So come check that out, and then we'll probably be taking a little bit of a break for the summer, so you can all enjoy our Strange New Worlds coverage here on Open Pike Night, and then be picking it up with Picard in the fall.
Ensign Gozer.
That's right, Ensign Gozer
Ensign
herself.
Gozer. Hell
I'm
yeah.
still wondering if I'm going to tell her that's her nickname on our show. I don't know. I mean, we mean it as a compliment, but...
Yeah.
Look, if anybody is used to being recognized for a single role in their entire body of acting work, it's people who were on Star Trek.
Exactly. And Jesse, we had some great callers tonight. So if our listeners, and every listener is welcome to call in, want to, how can they do that?
It's like real life time travel, yeah.